Welcome back. You're watching ED Inside. In just 3 decades, the Indian IT industry has gone from almost zero to $70 billion in annual revenues. That's a huge achievement, but still insignificant compared to the global IT services market of $895 billion. To get a bigger share of that pie, Indian IT companies need to offer not just more sophisticated services, but also invest in marketing and brand building. Prem Shankar tells you how.
2 years ago, when Ramalinga Raju admitted to cooking Satyam's books, he took down with him an organization of great repute. An episode that crumbled the twin pillars of trust and credibility that the Indian IT sector had painstakingly built over years. And all this at a time when the sector was struggling to cope with the global downturn. The dark memories of that episode have slowly faded and the IT sector has bounced back. But the scars will stay for a long time.
Business ethics is at the forefront of all leading corporations today, and that will only continue to strengthen, and certainly we see that in our own organisation. So most definitely that's something that all organisations have got to evaluate as they move forward in these plans, because the damage to one's brand, to one's image, to one's future growth opportunities can be very significantly damaged.
The first challenge is that most of the IT companies are still, Indian IT companies are still seen as the ADM players, application development and maintenance players. Their ability to lead the customer from consulting to conceptualization to implementation is still sometimes questioned. That's challenge number one. The second challenge is the language and cultural barriers that they are going to encounter in the non-English language speaking countries. And the third thing that I would say is that the perception, a possible perception that they have to deal with about taking away the jobs of the locals in the countries that they are operating in.
That's where the right kind of communication comes in. The good news is India is taking small steps in that direction. But the bad news is that it's not nearly enough. Global IT majors like Microsoft and IBM spend about 2 to 4% of their annual revenues in advertising. In India, that number is paltry, because communication and branding is largely event-based.
Of Mumbai, everybody is a winner. Tata Consultancy Services.
So just how bad are Indian IT companies at brand building? To know that, you need to recall the last time you saw any mass communication from Infosys. Chances are that you can't recall. And why should you? Because these companies are not offering consumer-based solutions.
I think Infosys is getting invited to the head table to bid for large transformation projects. Clearly, our strategy of one-to-one discussion with the global CEOs is paying off. Chris, our CEO, can call up 25, 30 of the top CEOs of the top 50 companies in the world and is on a first name term with them. Muti can call them up. Shibu can call up a few, and I can call up a few. So I think many of us understand the global business. We are being called to all this, to the bidding process, and I think today there is no big deal where we are not invited to bid, and we're winning quite a few of them. And we have built this brand because remember, the brand for Indian IT is not a consumer brand, it's an enterprise brand.
And if that's not reason enough, there's Brand India to ride on.
The Indian industry branding, if I take you back to the mid-90s, when I used to make a presentation to a prospective client, I had a 4-part presentation. Part 1 was on India, Part 2 was on the Indian software industry, Part 3 was on Hexaware, and Part 4 was what we can do for you. The first 2 parts now have got deleted. We don't need to talk on India because India brand is strong. We don't need to talk on Indian software industry. Everybody knows about it.
Not everyone can go to the bank, Mr. Banker.
Surely everybody does. But enterprise building is not all about becoming a mammoth organization catering to global clients. It's also about creating the right perception. And so it's an important part of enterprise building.
HCL is now a case
Who would know that better than HCL? But HCL is different because it claims to be the technology that touches lives.
HCL's passion creates technology that touches lives everywhere.
I think the deal flows which we are seeing in the market are at its highest, at least what I have seen in the last 2 years. Never before I've seen this deal flow. And therefore we have increased our SG&A, our sales headcount by 15% sequentially.
Indian IT companies who were so far focusing on business and results simply forgot to build their brands. But now, with one foot over the threshold of the global arena, a rethink may be on the cards.
It is constantly going up because overall revenue is going up. But as a percentage, it's a very small percentage, less than 1%, and that percentage is not going up.
Infosys may have been a little slow on the uptake, but Cognizant Technologies hit the ground running 10 years younger than these bigwigs. Cognizant now is threatening to bid them for a spot in the big league. The firm uses a simple formula: take home less profit, plow most of it into marketing their brand. So while most Indian IT companies spend 10 to 14% on sales, marketing and administration, Cognizant chose to use 22 to 24%. And this long-term outlook on branding is now paying huge dividends.
Just one minor correction, as an organization, we don't invest in sales and marketing, we invest in relationship. And that has really helped us to maintain an industry-leading growth. If you really look at, we are probably well known in the industry for the relationship that we hold with our customers. We are very well known in the industry for the relationship that we have with on the supply side, with all the academic institutions in India and overseas also. So I think relationship is where we invest, and from that point of view, I think it has really helped us to get the mind share of the people, mind share of all the stakeholders. That has really resulted in industry-leading growth for Cognizant.
A recent Brand Finance report on India's most valuable brands ranked TCS fourth among the top 50 brands. But Infosys and Wipro didn't do so well. Both fell behind by one spot in the rankings, Infosys to 9th place and Wipro to the 15th spot.
Global IT services major IBM, on the other hand, stands firm, claiming 4th spot in the list of the world's most valued brands. Indian IT companies have been slower to react to change than their Western counterparts, and clearly have not put brand value on top of their priority list.
Well, that's all we have for you in this edition of ET Insight. We'll be back next week, but until then, don't forget to write in with your feedback and suggestions. Thanks so much for watching.